Hey everybody. I'm not liking my hair today. It's
I
so
think it
flat.
cut off your intro, so say hi again.
All right, she thinks it cut off my intro. So hey everybody, I'll say it again. I'm not liking my hair today. It seems very flat. And
I hated everything about myself
and I was
filming
complaining
today.
to Oriana that I always feel like I'm cockeyed on here. I feel like I'm like that way. But it could just be because I drink a lot. No, I'm only kidding. Anyway, some people have been writing to me. Oh boy. Some people have been writing to me and asking me, since I travel so much, do I have favorite places? And of course, everywhere I go, I have some favorite restaurants I like to go to, stores I like to go to, hotels I like to go to, but that could take forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer up to you guys, if you're traveling to any city in the future and you'd like to know my favorite restaurants there, my favorite places to shop, my favorite places to visit just for fun, my favorite hotels, I'd be happy to do that. So write to me on one of my social networks or write on my YouTube where you're traveling to, where you're thinking of traveling to, or even if you want to just say, hey, I've been here. Have you ever been there? Do you like it? I'm all about that. But today I'm going to talk about the city that I know best, the city that I love best, and the city that I think offers a variety of everything for everybody. And of course, that's my home city of New York City. I was born and raised in New York City on the Upper East Side, and the Upper East Side is, of course, just another part of the city. There's the Upper West Side, there's the Lower East Side, there's the Lower West Side, there's Midtown, there's Soho, there's Chelsea, there's Sutton Place. There's all different parts of the city. So if you have a specific place in the city you'd like to know about, I'm going to try to touch on a little bit of everything. But again, if after seeing this video you have more questions about New York City or you want to know other things that I didn't give you information about, you can let me know and I'll be happy to answer that. The first thing I want to tell you is that people don't take as much advantage of this as they should, and that is Central Park. What most people don't know is Central Park is 843 acres. And they have this amazing...
That's big.
They have this amazing bike tour. It costs about $45. It's 2 hours. And on a beautiful fall day... Can you get that thing?
Hold on. Sorry, guys.
Lean to the right. Thank you. On a beautiful fall day, you can do it. Of course, it's nicest to do it when the weather's really warm. But you really can't do it in the fall because it's not so hot and it's not so crowded. And you get to go past like the Model Sailboats Conservatory.
Wow.
Where it's really, really beautiful. A lot of movies were filmed there. You get to see the Alice in Wonderland sculpture, the Balto sculpture, the Belvedere Castle, which is gorgeous. What?
I love Balto.
I love Balto too.
He's
the Bow Bridge. You can see the Imagine Mosaic, which is, of course, for John Lennon. And, of course, you can visit the Carousel, which is just beautiful. And there's probably 100 other things, including the Central Park Zoo that's in Central Park, but the bike tour is a really nice way to do it, and it's not that expensive. Another thing that I recommend that you see, of course, whether you're religious or not, is St. Patrick's Cathedral. And if you're Catholic, or you're Protestant, or you're Jewish, or you're Buddhist, or you're Muslim, it doesn't matter. You should just go see St. Patrick's Cathedral because the structure, the architecture, the age is just amazing. They just put new doors in. They redid a lot of it. It's looking really spiffy and beautiful, so it's definitely something you should take a look at. And obviously, another structure to go look at is the public library. And that's just east of Times Square. Times Square is Midtown Manhattan. That's where you'll find all the Broadway shows, where you'll find a lot of stores, where you find where the ball drops. For those of you that see that on television, that's where the ball drops every year for New Year's Eve. But right there, just east of Times Square is the New York Public Library. That structure is stunning. You can sit in there. They have the original wood, the original tables, the original library lights, the books you can look at. They have archives of everything possible to see. And, of course, the library is free, so you can go there on a budget if you like. Another thing that I recommend is Lincoln Center. I grew up going to the ballet and going to the opera, and I still love that. That's on 64th and Broadway. They have a tour rehearsal there, so you can see people actually rehearsing for the ballet, whatever ballet they're doing at that particular season. You can also see the opera rehearsal, and these are very, very famous opera stars. These are very, very famous ballerinas, and you could take that tour through Lincoln Center, which is absolutely amazing. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Upper East Side. of course, one of the most famous things in New York City is breakfast at Tiffany's. So I always recommend that you go to Tiffany's. Tiffany's is used to tourists. You shouldn't feel intimidated because you're thinking, oh, I can't go in there and buy a piece of jewelry. There is a floor in Tiffany's that has gifts under $100. So you can buy a keychain, an ashtray, coasters, many things. But Tiffany's is so used to tourists, so you should never feel intimidated about going there. Of course, the most famous thing is the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. And that was, of course, by Truman Capote. So they have a whole thing, and they'll even tell you the history of it if you go into Tiffany's and you ask them. They are so used to dealing with tourists. They will love the questions. They will field the questions, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful place. It's a very expensive area around there, and supposedly, I don't know if many of you know this, but you can actually go see the building that was supposedly where Holly Golightly lived in the Breakfast at Tiffany's is 169 East 71st Street. And it's a brownstone. It's just beautiful. In my later days of being, my late teens, my early 20s, I lived very close. I lived on 71st and 1st. And this is 169 East 71st Street. And they will show, you could see it's 169, and that's where Holly Golightly, the building from Breakfast at Tiffany's, is where she supposedly lived and carried on her life. The other thing is, in Tiffany's itself, they're very courteous. They'll show you around, so you'll probably enjoy that. Another thing you really should take a look at is on 48th in Bryant Park. Bryant Park's a small little park in Midtown Manhattan. They have a Starbucks there. There's ice skating there. Nicest little park. But there's a very cool building there, and everybody passes this building. So if you do get to go to New York, I want you to go to the Radiator Building. It's a black brick building with gold trim. And it was made by Raymond Hood, and his idea of that building was to have it glow at night. That's why it's black, and that's why it's got all gold around it. It is just the most beautiful architectural building. People pass it every day. Those of us that live in New York City and work in New York City, we pass it every day. But as a tourist, really take a good look at it. And if you see it at night with the moonlight, it's just breathtaking. For those of you that are into fashion, like my daughter, there is the FIT Museum. They have over 200 years of fashion history. Very famous dresses, very famous fashion, things worn by Princess Diana, things worn by Jacqueline Onassis, that far back, 200 years. Further back. They have things designed and worn by Coco Chanel. Great place to go if you're indeed interested in fashion. And, you know, everybody's interested in fashion to some way, so that's a great place to go. Another place that I recommend that everybody goes to is Henry Bendel. And the reason I recommend Henry Bendel is it's a different kind of department store. They have a very beautiful high-class makeup. And when I mean high class, I don't mean snooty. I mean very different kinds of makeup there. Makeup that you wouldn't maybe find in a department store. Different brands of makeup. They have a candy department that's delightful. During Christmas, they have a beautiful ornament department where you can buy why, thank you.
Sorry.
Where you can buy very beautiful ornaments. Every year I do try to go buy something really unusual there for my daughter for Christmas.
Oh, yeah, that ball. I have that ball.
It's like a disco ball.
I shall show it. It's about this big. And it's made of all these handmade little, like, star beads.
And they're beautiful. I always try to go
gorgeous.
there and get something really cool. Another thing about Henry Bendel is they have a lot of clothes. Really great store to go shopping in and something different. Of course, there is the Saks Fifth Avenue. There is, Lord & Taylor's. There's Bergdorf Goodman's. There's all those wonderful department stores. But Bendel's is just a little bit different. Another thing, go to MoMA, which is the Museum of Modern Art. The best time to visit MoMA is on a Saturday night. People don't know this. They actually have live music. And
I didn't know that.
Yes, and it's beautiful. Another little thing I'm going to tell you. The Jazz Center at Lincoln Center. Lincoln Center is where I told you to go see the Opera House and to visit the ballet. There's a little club called Dizzy's Club. The best day to go there, Tuesday and Wednesday. Live music again. Really intimate. And jazz is that kind of music that a lot of people don't think they can get into until you've actually heard it, and then you'll realize, wow, this is very cool. Another thing I'm going to tell you about, this is a secret. At the Parker Meridian, behind curtains, is a place called the Burger Joint. No one will tell you it's there. You have to know it's there. So you go to La Parker Meridian, you'll see the curtain, you'll pull the curtain, you'll walk in. Some of the best burgers you'll ever eat. And another thing about Manhattan is, of course, it's open 24 hours a day. And when I say open 24 hours a day, I just don't mean the city. Almost everything is open 24 hours a day. You want Thai food, you can get Thai food. You want burgers, you can get burgers. You want lox and bagels, you can get lox and bagels. Some of the other things I suggest you go to, everybody should go to Serendipity's once, have the frozen hot chocolate. There was a movie called Serendipity. It's in the movie. Lots of times, many things were filmed in Serendipity's. It's a great place to go. It's a family place. So you can take your family. They have a little tiny gift shop. You can get some things there. Of course, PJ Clark's is another famous restaurant. There's a couple of PJ Clark's now all over the country, but remember, New York has the original. Another thing I suggest you do when you're in New York, try to walk as much as possible, because a lot of things you just see by simply walking, just looking around. I tried to give you guys a little bit of everything. When you go further downtown in the Soho area, you'll hit Little Italy, where they have the San Gennaro Feast every year, which is a place of just food and food and food and food and food and food. So if you like to eat, that's the place to go. Of course, there's Chinatown. All amazing Chinese restaurants, very cultural Chinese gift shops. You know, I can go more into specifics if there's something you specifically like to know about, but these are some of the places that not too many tour guides will tell you, not too many people will know about unless you live in New York City. So I hope you enjoy that, and I hope that you'll take the time to go and see my New York, because that's how much I love it, and the different places. Of course, there is, you know, the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty. Now, of course, some of you know that they've redone Madison Square Garden. So,
Ew.
Stop. So, you know, you can go visit all those things, but those are what the tourists go to see, and I'm not saying those are not fabulous. They are. These are some things off the beaten path. The other part of this video that I want to do is, some of you asked me, when I put out a request to you, that if you had a dream and you'd like to tell me about it. Now, some of you sent me your wildest wishes and heart's desires, and I love to hear your dreams and your desires of what you want to do when you grow up, or what you're currently doing, or what you hope to do someday. But what I meant is the actual dreams you have when you sleep. When I was in college, I took a lot of dream courses because I'm a very vivid dreamer, and I don't sleep very well. So I wanted to find a way to have what they call lucid dreams, to remember my dreams and participate in them and almost on a conscious level. So what I'm offering to you guys is, if you have a reoccurring dream, or a dream you've had, or a dream that troubles you, a nightmare, whatever, you'd like to know what it means, I can tell you by basically analyzing the dream and breaking it down and letting you know what the dream actually means. Dreams are not as far-fetched as they seem, although I have some pretty crazy ones, and dreams are not as obvious as they seem. Some people think if you're dreaming of this person dying, they're going to die. Doesn't mean anything like that. So what I'm proposing to any of you is, if you have a dream, or you've had a dream in the past, or it's reoccurring, and you'd like to know something about that dream and what it really means, send me your dream. You can either send it to me on my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, any of the social networks I have, or you can send it to Oriana's P.O. Box, if that's okay with Oriana. Yeah. She says yes. If you want to write it down, if you want me to address you by name, I will. If you don't want anybody to know you've had this crazy, wild dream, that's okay. But I can show you how easy it is to figure out what your dreams mean without getting too crazy and thinking that you're nuts, okay? So that's what I mean by your dreams. And of course, if you do want to tell me your dreams, desires, and hopes, that's great, but I probably can't do anything about them anyway. And that's it. So have a great day, and I look forward to any requests you have about any cities you'd like to know about, or any dreams.